Apple just did something that might sound small at first, but is actually a game changer for the entire smartphone industry. The iPhone 17 now starts at 256 gigabytes of storage, no more 128 gigabyte base model. And while that sounds like Apple finally catching up, the ripple effect is going to hit every phone you'll buy in the next few years, even if you're strictly an Android user. For years, 128 gigabytes has been the frustrating default. On paper, it looks fine, but in reality, with 4K video, giant apps, and increasingly massive photo libraries, that space fills up fast. It always felt less like a baseline and more like a trap to push you into paying extra for higher tiers. And Apple, the company that charges a premium for everything, was the most notorious for dragging its feet here. That's why this moment matters. By eliminating the 128 gigabyte tier, Apple is effectively setting 256 gigabytes as the new normal for premium smartphones. And this isn't just about storage. Apple also gave the standard iPhone 17 and 17 Plus a long overdue upgrade, a 120Hz ProMotion display. Until now, that smooth, high-refresh screen was locked behind the pricier Pro models. Meanwhile, even mid-range Android phones had it, making the regular iPhone feel dated and almost embarrassing in comparison. Having a flagship phone in 2025 with a 60Hz screen just didn't make sense anymore. Now Apple has leveled the playing field, and that changes the baseline for everyone. Here's why it's such a big deal beyond the Apple bubble. Whether we like it or not, Apple moves the industry. Samsung, Google, OnePlus, they all pay close attention to what Apple does because Apple's choices shape consumer expectations. If Apple says 256 gigabytes is the new entry point, suddenly it becomes much harder for anyone else to release a premium phone with half the storage. Same with 120Hz displays. Now that every iPhone has it, you can bet the feature won't be treated as optional anymore. Think about it. Google just launched the Pixel 10 series with 128 gigabytes as the base. Samsung's Galaxy S25 lineup? Same story. They were all holding back, waiting for Apple to move first. And now that Apple has, those companies have no excuse. The next Galaxy S26 or Pixel 11 starting at 128 gigabytes would look downright outdated, and buyers will notice. Apple's decision forces the rest of the market to raise their game, which means better value across the board. It's not the first time this has happened. Remember when 64 gigabytes was the standard and then 128 gigabytes replaced it? At first, only a few models offered it, but once Apple made the switch, it became the industry baseline. The same cycle is happening now, and in a couple years, we'll probably laugh at the idea of buying a flagship phone with less than 256 gigabytes. The same goes for display refresh rates. What used to be seen as a premium perk is now a minimum expectation, and once the market adjusts, nobody will accept less. For Apple users, this finally makes the standard iPhone a true all-rounder. In the past, if someone asked me whether they should get the base iPhone, I'd hesitate. I'd either recommend they pay extra for more storage or go for an older Pro model to get the smoother display. The standard iPhone always had a catch. Now it doesn't. Out of the box, you're getting enough storage for the long haul and a display that feels as premium as anything else. That's a huge shift in value. But here's the part I like most. This move helps everyone, even if you'll never buy an iPhone. I'm mainly an Android user myself, but now I know my next Pixel or Galaxy almost certainly won't trap me with 128 gigabytes storage. Apple has raised the floor, and every other brand will have to follow. That's the kind of competitive push that actually benefits us as consumers. And while Apple doesn't always get credit for being consumer-friendly, in this case, they've made a decision that truly pushes the whole industry forward. Of course, it's a little ironic that Apple, a company often criticized for being slow to adopt features that Android phones had for years, is the one forcing the industry to move forward. They dragged their heels on high refresh screens and bigger storage tiers for ages, yet now they're the ones setting the new standard. But honestly, I'll take it. At the end of the day, the iPhone 17 doesn't just make Apple's lineup stronger, it makes every upcoming phone stronger. It forces Samsung, Google, and every other player to step up, because none of them can afford to look worse on paper than the base iPhone. Apple just raised the tide, and all the other boats are going to rise with it. And as smartphone users, that's the kind of win we should all celebrate. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Take care.